Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. You may have seen it, and if you haven't, go and see it. A fantastic heavyweight fight between Joe Cusumano and Adam Kownacki. What a tear up! I mean, brilliant heavyweight fight. Just it's like a car park brawl. But I mean, there was some skill involved, but it certainly wasn't defensively. Offensively, yes. But go and have a look at it. It's on DAZN. It was on the undercard of the Berlanga Quigley fight, and I had a feeling Cusumano would win this fight because even though, really, I mean, he's a 6'4", 35-year-old, and the only time I can remember seeing him is when he got done in a round by Daniel Dubois. So that doesn't bode well. But you can get cold, especially against a banger. And Cusumano himself, I mean, he's now got 22 wins with 20 KOs. He was a banger himself, so he's probably used to people, suffering his power. And against Dubois, he suddenly ran into someone who had even more power. He does have four defeats. The stoppage to Dubois, and the other three were on points. But he's been on a little bit of a run. I mean, the 2021 defeat to Dubois must have made him ask questions of himself. But he absolutely smashed up Adam Kownacki. Not that he had it all his own way. And this is now his third KO win since that Dubois defeat. I had a feeling he would win. I thought Kownacki had too many miles on the clock. Was talking about retirement. He's 34 himself. Kownacki, 6'3", Polish origins. This is his fourth defeat in a row. He lost twice to Robert Helenius by stoppage. Then he lost to Ali Demirezen. Was that the guy's name? I can't remember how to pronounce it, but I remember watching that fight. He lost over 10 rounds. That was a grueling fight. And now he's lost to Joe Cusumano. Even his wins, I mean, Chris Arreola fight over 12 was an absolute row, wasn't it? An absolute war. And I mean, he won a 12-round decision over Charles Martin, stopped Gerald Washington in 2. Arthur Spilker did him in 4. I mean, he had a good record against B-level fighters, but he got found out basically. And this fight was war, absolute war, because in the first round, Cusumano looked in shape. He really did look in good nick, and looked very, very confident. And Kownacki coming in looked way out of shape. I mean, he looked like he was in the 250s, I think. Certainly in the late 240s in terms of weight, but there was that big spare tire around his middle. He just didn't look to me. He just didn't look like he had self-belief. I mean, I'm speculating here because I'm going by the look in his eyes and his body language, but he looked as if he was the sort of guy who was saying to himself, "Have I still got this? Have I got it?" Well, he's certainly got courage, a ton of it. What he hasn't got is a defence, which he's always lacked. There again, neither has Cusumano. And in the first round, Kownacki's renowned for throwing punches relentlessly, all throughout an entire fight. And in the first round, he got rocked badly by a big right hand, which shook him and stiffened his legs, and he fell back into the ropes. And Cusumano was all over him. Cusumano got him on the ropes and was whacking away. And you thought, is this going to be an early finish? Kownacki looked wobbly, and then Cusumano put him. I mean, he had him spilled all over the canvas with an overhand right cross, and Kownacki looked like he was out of it. He got up, and he couldn't wobble anymore if he tried. But it was a slow count, a very slow count, and then he made it to the end of the round and staggered back to the corner. I'm surprised you could remember which corner he was in. The referee had a look at him, gave him way too much time to recover, and in the second round, Cusumano maybe had punched himself out a bit. Kownacki won the round. I mean, he boxed well. He started to really put it on Cusumano, who looked a little bit gassed through his exertions in the first round. And Kownacki won the second round. And in fact, he won the third again. There were exchanges, and at times he was getting Cusumano in trouble. I mean, nowhere near the trouble that he himself had been in. But Cusumano, again, with no defence, was taking punches and seemed reluctant to throw too many punches, whereas in the first round he was very sort of cavalier. In the second and third, he was almost like trying to fill his gas tank up again, not throw too many punches. Well, he did win the fourth, Cusumano. He came out as a close round, very close round, but he won the fourth. And then you had a couple of rounds which were give and take. I mean, I wouldn't say they were boring rounds, but compared to the first round, anything's boring. But they were still both, because they lacked defence, they were both still landing hard punches, and you were thinking, who's going to go first? And for sort of fourth and fifth round, fifth and sixth round, I was thinking to myself, Kownacki's probably in the ascendancy here, because he's the one with the experience, and he seems to be, he seemed to be landing sharp punches, but they were too few. Do you know what I mean? And Cusumano you got the impression Cusumano was refilling his gas tank and was about to come on strong, and that is actually what happened, because Kownacki, and he must have still been a bit buzzed from that first round. Kownacki was okay, but because he was not in shape, with that big spare tyre around his middle, he wasn't looking like he was going to do the full 10. It was a 10 rounder, not a 12 rounder. At least he wasn't going to be able to do the full 10 at his usual pace that he's used to. And Kownacki is a fighter whose volume punches are what gets him through fights, because again, he does not have a great defence, and he's not that sophisticated or scientific about what he does. Neither is Cusumano. But sure enough, in the seventh round, certainly, Cusumano came on very strong and really hurt Kownacki very badly. The doctor, I think it was between the fifth and the sixth, or the sixth and the seventh. It was the sixth and the seventh. The referee had a look at, the doctor had a look at Kownacki, and they were saying, you've got to show us something. But Cusumano was too much. He got his second wind, and in the eighth round he hit. I mean, certainly between the seventh and the eighth, they were all on the verge of stopping it. The end of the seventh, actually, they had the trainer had the towel in his hand, and I think Kownacki's family was saying to the corner, "Stop the fight." They almost stopped it, but he was allowed out for the eighth, and the moment, it was about a minute in, or 40-50 seconds in, Cusumano landed a big right hand, which had Kownacki all over the place. He staggered to his right. Cusumano threw another right hand that whacked him on the jaw or the side of the head. Kownacki not going down, hanging on the ropes. The referee belatedly stepped in after the towel had... First of all, the towel was waved, and then the guy threw it in, the referee didn't see it. So it was a bit of pandemonium. But finally, the ref stops it to give Joe Cusumano the best win of his career, and a much-deserved win. Kownacki, nothing wrong in the guts department. Tough man. But this has got to be the end for him. This is his fourth defeat in a row, 3 by KO. But Cusumano's breathed life into his career. He really has. It's a fantastic performance. And yeah, go and have a look at this fight, because you'll like it. It's a very, very good one. What's next for Cusumano? Hopefully some big paydays. He'll probably be the B-side still, but maybe some good paydays against leading guys. See how far he can go. He is 35. But well done to him. Bad luck to Kownacki. Leave your comments below about this fight. Go and have a look at it, and maybe you've seen it already. It's a real good fight. And as always, thanks for your time. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the like button, and we'll speak again soon. Bye for now.